love me. Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
Om Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Today I am going to discuss the topic difference between morals and ethics after the prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Avignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Generally, the terms ethics and morality are used interchangeably, although a few different communities will occasionally make a distinction. In fact, Britannica's article on ethics considers the terms to be the same as moral philosophy. While understanding the most ethicists consider the terms interchangeable, let us go ahead and dive into these distinctions. Both morality and ethics loosely have to do with distinguishing the difference between good and bad or right and wrong. Many people think of morality as something that's personal and normative, whereas ethics is the standards of good and bad, distinguished by a certain community or social setting. For example, your local community may think adultery is immoral, and you personally may agree with that. However, the distinction can be useful if your local community has no strong feelings about adultery, but you consider adultery immoral on a personal level. By these definitions of the terms, your morality would contradict the ethics of your community. In popular discourse, however, we will often use the terms moral and immoral when talking about issues like adultery, regardless of whether it's being discussed in a personal or in a community based situation. As you can see, the distinction can get a bit tricky. It's important to consider how the two terms have been used in discourse in different fields so that we can consider the connotations of both terms. For example, morality has a Christian connotation to many Westerners, since moral theology is prominent in the church. Similarly, ethics serves as a personal code of conduct for people working in those fields, and the ethics themselves are often highly debated and contentious. These connotations have helped guide the distinctions between morality and ethics. Ethicists today, however, use the terms interchangeably. If they do want to differentiate morality from ethics, the onus is on the ethicist to state the definitions of both terms. Ultimately, the distinction between the two is as substantial as a line drawn in the sand. Ethics and morals related to right and wrong conduct, while they are sometimes used interchangeably, they are different. ethics refer to rules provided by an external source. Example, codes of conduct in workplaces or principles in religions. Morals refer to an individual's own principles regarding right and wrong. Ethics, the rules of conduct recognized in respect to a particular class of human actions or a particular group or culture. Morals, principles or habits with respect to right or wrong conduct. While morals also prescribe do's and don'ts, morality is ultimately a personal compass of right and wrong. Ethics come from social system. Morals come from individuals. We follow ethics because society says it is the right thing to do. We believe morals in something being right or wrong. Ethics are dependent on others for definition. They tend to be consistent within a certain context. Morals usually consistent, although can change if an individual's beliefs change. A person strictly following ethical principles may not have any morals at all. Likewise, one could violate ethical principles within a given system of rules in order to maintain moral integrity. A moral person, although perhaps bound by a higher covenant, may choose to follow a code of ethics as it would apply to a system make it fit. Ethics are governed by professional and legal guidelines within a particular time and place. Morality transcends cultural norms. Now, source of principles. Ethics are external standards that are by institutions, groups, or culture to which an individual belongs. For example, lawyers, policemen, and doctors all have to follow an ethical code laid down by their profession, regardless of their own feelings or preferences. Ethics can also be considered a social system or a framework for acceptable behavior. Morals are also influenced by culture or society, by they are personal principles created and upheld by individuals themselves. Now, consistency and flexibility. Ethics are very consistent within a certain context. For example, the ethics of the medical profession in the 21st century are generally consistent and do not change from hospital to hospital, but they are different from ethics of the 21st century legal profession. An individual's moral code is usually unchanging and consistent across all contexts, but it is also possible for certain events to radically change an individual's personal beliefs and values. Now, conflicts between ethics and morals. One professional example of ethics conflicting with morals is the work of a defense attorney. A lawyer's moral may tell her that murder is reprehensible and that murderers should be punished, but her ethics as a professional lawyer require her to defend her client to the best of her abilities, even if she knows that the client is guilty. Another example can be found in the medical field. In most parts of the world, a doctor may not kill a patient, even at the patient's request, as per ethical standards for health professionals. However, the same doctor may personally believe in a patient's right to die as per the doctor's own morality. Origins. Much of the confusion between these two words can be traced back to the origins. For example, the word ethics come from Old French ethique, late Latin ethica, and Greek ethos, and refer to appropriate behavior and manners in a society, so the two have very similar, if not synonymous, meanings originally. Morality and ethics of the individual have been philosophically studied for well over 1,000 years. The idea of ethics being principles that are set and applied to a group focused on the individual is relatively new, though primarily dating back to the 1600s. The distinction between ethics and morals is particularly important for philosophical ethicists. The major difference between ethics and moralities are like this. 1. The word ethics originated from the Greek word ethos. The meaning of ethos is a character. The word morals originated from the Latin word mos. The meaning of mos is custom. Third, legal guidelines and professional rules govern ethics. The acceptability of ethics is confined within a particular space and time frame. When it comes to the acceptability of morality, it transcends the norms laid down by culture. Another, ethics are dependent on the prism of others. Morality is seen from the perspective of an individual. If the contexts are different, then the ethics could be different. Hence, there is some degree of field ability in ethics. Change in morality depends on the change in the beliefs of an individual. Ethics are followed because society has decided that it is the right course of action. But morality is followed because a person believes that it is the right course of action. Ethics is something usually associated in the field of law, medicine, or business. Ethics does not have a religious connotation. Morality has a religious connotation. A person who follows the ethical principles need not necessarily have strong moral values. In fact, there are even possibilities that he may not have any morals. There could be situations where ethics are violated by moral person to maintain to uphold his moral values. Now, what does morals means? Answer: a person's idea of morals tends to be shaped by their surrounding environment. Moral values shape a person's ideas about right and wrong. They often provide the guiding ideas behind ethical systems. That's where it gets tricky. Morals are the basis for ethics. A moral person wants to do the right thing, and a moral impulse usually means best intentions. Now, what does ethics mean? Ethics are distinct from morals in that they are much more practical. An ethical code does not to be moral. It is just a set of rules for people to follow. Several professional organizations have created specific ethical codes for their respective fields. In other words, an ethical code has nothing to do with cosmic righteousness or a set of beliefs. It is a set of rules that are drafted by trade groups to ensure members stay out of trouble and act in a way that brings credit to the profession. Now, ethics are not always moral and vice versa. It is important to know that what's ethical isn't always what's moral and vice versa. Omerta, for example, is a code of silence that developed among members of the mafia. It was used to protect criminals from the police. This follows the rules of ethically correct behavior for the organization, but it can also be viewed as wrong from a moral standpoint. A moral action can also be unethical. A lawyer who tells a court that his client is guilty may be acting out of a moral desire to see justice done, but this is deeply unethical because it violates the attorney client privilege. Next, definition of morals. Morals are the social, cultural, and religious beliefs or values of an individual or group which tells us what is right or wrong. They are the rules and standards made by the society or culture, which is to be followed by us while deciding what is right. Some rural principles are: do not cheat, be loyal, be patient, always tell the truth, be generous, etc. But morals refer to the beliefs, what is not objectively right, but what is considered right for any situation. So it can be said what is morally correct. may not be objectively correct. Now, definitions of ethics. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that deals with the principles of conduct of an individual or group. It works as a guiding principle as to decide what is good or bad. They are the standards which govern the life of a person. Ethics is also known as moral philosophy. Some ethical principles are truthfulness, honesty, loyalty, respect, fairness, integrity. Now, the key differences between morals and ethics. The major differences between morals and ethics are described like this. 1. Morals deal with what right or wrong. Ethics deals with what is good and evil. Morals are general guidelines framed by the society. Example, we should speak truth. Conversely, ethics are a response to a particular situation. Example, is it ethical to state the truth in a particular situation? 3. The term morals is delivered from a Greek word mos, which refers to custom, and the customs are determined by group of individuals or some authority. On the other hand, ethics is originated from Greek word ethikos, which refers to character, and character is an attribute. 4. Morals are dictated by society, culture, or religion, while ethics are chosen by the person himself, which governs his life. Morals are concerned with the principles of right and wrong. On the contrary, ethics stresses on right and wrong conduct. 6. As morals are framed and designed by the glory, there is no option to think and choose. The individual can either accept or reject. Conversely, the people are free to think and choose the principles of his life in ethics. 7. Morals may vary from society to society and culture to culture, as opposed to ethics, which remains the same regardless of any culture, religion, or society. 8. Morals do not have any applicability to business, whereas ethics is widely applicable in the business, known as business ethics. 9. Morals are expressed in the form of statements, but ethics are not expressed in the form of statements. For examples, if the son of a big politician has committed a crime and he uses his power to free his son from legal consequences, then this act is immoral because the politician is trying to save a culprit. Next, a very close friend or relative of an interviewer comes for an interview, and without asking a single question, he selects him. this act is unethical because the selection process must be transparent and unbiased. Is it? Next, a grocer sells adulterated products to his customers to earn more profit. This act is neither moral nor ethical because he is cheating his customers and profession at the same time. Every single individual has some principles which help him throughout his life to cope up with any adverse situation. They are known as ethics. On the other hand, morals are not the hard and fast rules or very rigid, but they are rules which is a majority of people considered as right. That is why the people widely accept them. This is all for differentiating morals from ethics. Now, what are morals? Morals are principles on which one's judgment of right and wrong are based. They are also social, cultural, or religious beliefs or values about right or wrong. That is to say, morals are highly influenced by external factors like religion and culture. Since morals are based on culture or religion, they differ according to different cultures and religions. There are no such a thing as universal morals. What is considered right in one religion may be considered right in one religion, wrong in another religion. For example, eating meat is considered to be immoral in some Hindu cultures, but in some other Western cultures, it is perfectly acceptable. Now, morals are principles which help us to decide between right and wrong and good and bad. Some common examples of morally unacceptable behavior include practices like adultery, lying, and littering. But none of these acts are illegal or punishable by law. Thus, immoral does not necessarily mean illegal. Then, what are ethics? Ethics are guiding principles of conduct of an individual or group. They are the standards which govern the life of a person. Ethics are more related to professional life. They are codified into a set of rules or formal system and are adopted by people in different fields. Examples of such ethics include legal ethics and medical ethics. Ethics are unwritten laws. So, a breach of ethics is not punishable by law. Some common examples of ethics include loyalty, integrity, honesty, and punctuality. Disclosing a client's information without permission, always being late work, giving wrong information to a client, etc., are some examples of breach of work ethics. Now, Finally, let us find out the difference between ethics and morals once again. Ethics are guiding principles of conduct of an individual or group. Morals are principles on which one's judgments of right and wrong are based. Ethics are influenced by profession, field, organization, etc. Morals are influenced by society, culture, and religion. Ethics are related to professional work. Morals are not related to professional work. Ethics are often uniform compared to morals, but morals vary according to different cultures and religions. Shrekantaaya Kalyana Nidaya Nidayadhinam Shri Venkatanivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasasanaparar Madacharya Purogamaihi Sarvaisya Purvairacharyai Satkrutāyastu Mangalam.